Good morning, guys. My name is Parth Bhaidani, and today I'll be talking about Inogic's new productivity app called Recurring Billing Manager. It helps in automating and streamlining the recurring billing process within Dynamics CRM with ease. During this session, all of the lines will be muted. So in case if anybody has any question regarding any of the topic that I'll be talking about, please put it in the questions window and I'll make sure that I take those up at the end of the webinar. Before I dive deeper into the session, let me give you a brief about Inogic and its history. Inogic is one of the leading service provider and an ISP. Inogic is an exclusive Dynamics 365 boutique shop and has been into the business for more than a decade now. We are active in the community and our blogs are really popular in the Dynamics CRM community. Our main aim and focus is to develop productivity apps. On the screen right now, you can see various offerings from Inogic. Let me talk about a couple of them. Maplytics. Maplytics is our flagship CFMD certified solution. It helps you CRM users plot any of their CRM data on the map, thereby making sure that they can visualize the record as a pushpin on the map. They can also create territories. They can create routes, assign them to the salesperson or the field person, and do much more things using Maplytics. The next one is click to undo. It helps you undoing the changes that were done on a record, whether it was the immediate change or something that was done maybe a couple of months down before. So you can undo those changes. You can also restore any deleted record using click to undo. SharePoint Security Sync help you synchronize the CRM security model with SharePoint security model, thereby making sure that the user has same level of access at both the ends. Also, it provides you an intuitive UI using which you can interact with the files residing on SharePoint, all within CRM. Kanban board allows you to visualize the records in the form of a Kanban board-like view. Alerts for Dynamics helps you notify the user. So say for an example, I am a sales manager and I would like to notify all the salesperson about an upcoming sales meeting. I can quickly create an alert in the Alerts for Dynamics and all of them will be notified about the upcoming meeting. Apart from developing apps, we are also an SI and assist our partners and customers with our offshore services. If anybody is interested in knowing further more about this opportunity, feel free to drop an email at crm@inogic.com. So let's look at the agenda for the session. I'll begin talking about the challenges that user faces when it comes to managing your recurring billing process from within CRM. Then we will look at how our application, that is Recurring Billing Manager, helps you in overcoming those challenges, which will be followed by a live demonstration. And at the end, I'll be open up for question and answers. So now let's look at some of the challenges. So say as an organization, if I would like to bill my customers on a monthly basis or say weekly basis, there is no such provision out of the box that will help me do that. Or else if I would like to remind customers about an upcoming invoice or an invoice that is overdue, again, there is no way I can do that. I cannot even levy penalty out of the box on an invoice. Well, let's see how our application will help you bridge those gaps. So it will help you create those flexible billing schedule using which you can define how often would you like to bill a customer. Then what all items would you like to bill a customer? If you would like to levy or apply a penalty on an invoice, you can do that using an application. You can create various rules for reminders, and those can be automated using an application. You can also define the audiences to whom the reminders regarding an invoice should be sent out to. Also, the entire process of invoice generation, payment reminders, and delayed charge can be automated using our application. So without further much ado, let me dive into the live demonstration and help you understand each and every piece that I just spoke about. For that, I'll quickly switch to my CRM screen. So once you installed Recurring Billing Manager, you should be able to see it in your apps section. Let me open up that for you. Okay. So once the recurring billing manager is opened up, you will be presented with a dashboard. So before I start explaining about the dashboard, let me give you a brief about what are we going to look at. So there is this organization, fictional organization, who is interested or who has implemented recurring billing manager to manage their recurring invoices and their recurring payment process. So let's see how our application recurring billing manager will help them achieve their day-to-day needs. So once you open up the recurring billing manager, you will be able to see a dashboard and few charts, which is nothing but the out-of-the-box charts and dashboard. The first one is the revenue comparison for various months. So I can see the revenue that I have earned in the November 2020 and December 2020. Thereafter, I can see the number of invoices and the amount of those invoices that are upcoming. Also, there is a list of invoices that are overdue. Similarly, you can go ahead and create as many charts and dashboards that are required for your need. Thereafter, you can see we have added almost all of the necessary entities that are required for you to process your recurring billing uh, process entirely. Basically, you can see there are customers invoices. So you don't have to switch to any other application for meeting your needs. This is where you can achieve everything. So before I start speaking about the core of this application, that is billing schedule, let me give you a brief about the prerequisites. So I'll scroll down a bit and go to the other section. I'll open up the functional roles. So say for an example, the customers that we usually deal with have multiple departments in their organization, and based on the stage of your invoice, that is whether you would like to send them before basically a notification about an upcoming invoice or a notification about an overdue invoice, you would like to choose different set of audiences. So this is where the functional role comes into the picture. You will define various role based on the customer that you deal with, and then at the functional context, you will associate various contact with those roles. So in this example, I have this Chow Private Limited customer, and we could see John is part of the management role, and Molly and Jim are the part of the accounting department. Later on in the session, we will understand how this functional role and functional context are set into motion. After this, I will go to the billing schedule. Billing schedule can be considered as the heart of our recurring billing manager. Why am I saying that? It is because this is where you define to whom you need to bill, the like what's your frequency of billing the customer, and what all things would you like to bill. So let me explain you each one of them in detail. So here we can see we have two options of selecting customer. One is bill to and ship to, which could differ in a scenario wherein you are not directly interacting with the end user. However, you are a partner, and via the partner you are communicating with the end user. In which case, the bill to customer could be the partner, and the ship to would be the end user. Thereafter, this next invoice date, this drives the entire logic of invoice generation. So based on the invoice date, the invoices are generated. Then the payment terms, this is what decides the due date of the newly created invoice. For the demonstration purpose, I have kept it to due upon receipt. And then you define the billing frequency. We have various options in the billing frequency like daily, weekly. These are the most commonly used options. For the demonstration purpose, I have kept it to monthly. Then we have an option to define when exactly would you like to generate an invoice. Over here, we have two options. First is when the current invoice is empty, which is this field. So whenever this invoice is empty, and the next invoice date has lapsed, in that case the invoice will be generated. However, the other option is, say I define 15 days before the invoice date, in which case an invoice would have been generated 15 days prior to the 8th of December. For the demonstration purpose, I'll keep it to current invoice as empty. Then you define basically the number of duration till when the invoice should be generated. Again, we have two options over here. One, which is no end date, in which case an invoices will be generated for an indefinite period, or else you can go ahead and select the specified number of invoices, in which case you can define the total number of invoice that you would like to generate. So the fictional organization has a contract of 12 months with Chow Private Limited. So I would like to generate 12 invoices on a monthly basis. Let me save this. After that, we can define the reminder schedule and delayed charge schedule. Let me explain that to you briefly. So once we open up the reminder schedule, we see there are multiple reminder rules. So reminder rule is what define when exactly would you like to notify a customer and who will be the audiences to whom the notification will be sent out to. Here you can see some negative values and some positive values. Negative means that you would like to intimate a customer before the due date, and positive means after the due date. Let me explain you this one. We can see the value is 0, which means that the notification will be sent out on the due date of the invoice. Here we have defined the functional role, basically to whom we need to send the notification. They are the audience. Then we can define in what case should we send the notification. We have couple of options here. If the email has been acknowledged, then only we should send the notification. If not, or in either cases. Later on in this session, I'll explain you where exactly we can define this field or value. I'll come to the attachable report in a while. Then we can define the email template that will be considered while generating an email for the notification. Then you can define the sender. We have couple of options here. One is the owner, in which case the email will be sent out from the owner of an invoice, or else you can define the hard-coded queue, your user. Then the send to functional role is the two option available. If you select bill to customer, in that case, the accounting department of the bill to customer will be notified. Similarly, you can define the CC as well. And then the attachable report. So while sending an invoice or while sending an email, you would like to attach the invoice along. So this is where you will define what report or what invoice will be attached to the to your email. So here we have list of all of the Word document template. So Word document template is the out of the box functionality. So here you will get the list of all of the Word document template. For the demonstration purpose, I have select the out of the box Word document template, that is the invoice. And then you can define the name of the file that will be attached to your email. So there are two options. The constant is self-explanatory. If I select dynamic, in which case I can define the attribute over here. And at the time of file generation, actually the name of the file will be replaced with the invoice number. We will again see this in action in a while. Let me go back. And now we can define the delayed charges. So say for an example, the customer hasn't paid an invoice for 30 days, in which case you would like to levy a delayed charge of 10% on the invoice. This delayed charge is an out-of-the-box product entity which will be added as a line item on your invoice. And frequency means how often would you like to levy a delayed charge to a customer. Now let me go back to the billing schedule. So before I move on to explaining the billing lines, for the demonstration purpose, I'll be showing you an ad hoc way of generating an invoice from the billing schedule, but you could be rest assured that this entire process can be automated, which will be again covered later on in the session. Now I'll run the workflow on demand to generate an invoice. Let me open. And now let's go to the billing lines and understand what are there in the billing line. So you can add all of the products or the services the customer has subscribed for. So you can list down n number of products over here, and when an invoice is generated based off of the billing schedule, those billing lines will be translated to the invoice line items. Let me explain you one of them. So we can see there is a product selected over here, which is nothing but again a lookup to the out of the box product entity. Thereafter, you can define whether this billing line is billable or not. While you might argue, why do you want to even define whether this could be a billable or not? There could be a scenario wherein the customer initially subscribed for two items. However, 6 months down the line, customer decides to cancel off one of the item and continue with the other one. In which case, you can simply mark this as billable no, and it won't be carry forwarded to the upcoming invoices. This way, you can maintain the history of what the customer initially subscribed for. Then you can define the total quantity of that particular product or particular service that the customer has subscribed for. Then the purchase date and the paid through date. Paid through date defined till when the customer has made the payment for this particular product. And then in case if you don't want us to use the price list item values, you can provide an override unit price over here, in which case this will be given the priority. So this is how you can define your multiple products or services that the customer has subscribed for. Now, since we have ran the workflow, an invoice should have been generated for this billing schedule, which we could see over here. Also, the same will be populated in the current invoice. Let me open that for you. So we can see the two billing schedules or two billing lines are translated to the invoice line items over here, and with the correct values from the price list item. And then we can see the document date and due date are also carry forwarded based on whatever was decided or defined on the billing schedule. If we go to the recurring billing tab over here, you can see the various attributes that has been carry forwarded from the billing schedule, plus the new information like the next billing date and the delayed charge through date. This is when the delayed charge or penalty will be levied against this invoice. And then this is the field which defines whether a reminder notification should be sent out to the customer or not. Now, say for an example, the customer hasn't made the payment and a reminder notification has been sent out to the customer. So let me show you an ad hoc way of doing that. Again, we have a workflow which you can run, but this can also be automated, which I'll again explain you later down in the session. So let me run this one for you. So what it will do is the workflow or the logic that we have will take into consideration the due date. Based on this, it will choose the right reminder rule, and then a notification will be shoot out to the customer. Let's see if an email has been sent to the customer or not by going to the related activities and then switching to the all activities. Okay, we can see an email has been created. Let me open up this. We can see a file has been attached to against the email with the invoice number as the file name. Let me open up that file. So we can see the two line items basically that were there on the invoice as a part of this particular document. Again, you can create a beautiful Word document based on your need, and you can rebrand or brand that document as per your company requirement. Thereafter, the email body has been picked up from the template that was selected. The important piece to look out for is the recipients over here, which is Molly and Jim. So it has been taken up from the functional contact, and the accounting department were the audience. We can see Molly and Jim. Those are the one who are set into the as the recipient of this email. Now let me again go back to the invoice. So say for an example, after your first notification to the customer, after the notification to the customer makes a partial payment or a payment of $50. In that case, you can go to the payments entity, which is a part of the recurring billing manager, and make a note of that manually. Let's do that. So say customer made a payment in cash of $50. Let me save and close this. So we could see that once we create the payment record, the adjustment is done over here, and we can see the paid amount is $50 and the remaining amount is 65. Now, say in the second payment that has been processed by the customer, they do the full payment of the remaining amount. In which case, we can go ahead and use the out of the box invoice paid option and mark this invoice as paid. Let's see what happens in that case. Okay, I'll mark it as complete. Okay, so the invoice has been marked as paid. If we go to the payments entity, we will see one more entry of the remaining amount. And against it, it says that it has been marked as complete, which means that it was done using the invoice paid option. Similarly, if I go to the recurring billing tab and go to the billing schedule, there are few changes made over here as well. We can see the next invoice date has been advanced to the next month, which is 8th of January. Also, the remaining invoices count has been reduced by 1, which was initially 12 and now it is 11. And then if I go to the billing lines, I could see the paid through date has been advanced to today's date, which is 8th of December. Now, whatever we saw in the process right now was all an ad hoc way of generating the invoice or sending out the reminders to the customer. Everything that we saw can very well be automated using our automation logic. For that, you need to scroll down a bit, go to the automation section, open up the workflow triggers. And here we have various workflow created, various record created. So I have already automated my daily invoice generation, my reminder notification and delayed charges. However, let me quickly show you how to create one. So say for an example, I would like to create the daily invoice generation logic. And then I would like the logic to poll every day for the eligible invoices, eligible billing schedule and generate the invoice against it. So I'll set the poll interval as X day and provide a value or an interval of 1 over here. And then from the workflow options, I'll go and select auto generate invoice and then I'll define the start time. Start time is basically the date and time when the first time the logic will be triggered. So I will select 9th of December as the start time and it will begin at 8 a.m. in the morning. And then henceforth on all of the and thereafter on the following day it will begin at 8 a.m. and the process would continue for an indefinite amount period unless you go and deactivate this particular workflow trigger. So this is how you could make use of recurring billing manager to simplify your recurring invoice process and thereby making sure that there is zero like minimum to zero issues in your recurring processes. I would you will shortly see a poll on your screen and I would like you to cast your vote about what feature do you think it can benefit your organization the most. You will be having 30 seconds to cast your vote. Please do cast your vote. Thank you so much for casting your vote. So now let's look at the versions for which recurring billing manager is available. You can start using recurring billing manager from your CRM version 8.2 and above, as well as it supports on-premises deployment model as well as the online deployment models. So it's quite simple for you to get started using Recurring Billing Manager. You can go to appsource.com, search for Recurring Billing Manager, install it from there, or else you can go to our website, that is inochic.com, and download the solution and install it from there. In either of the cases, you will be having 15 days trial period to play around with the application. And at any time while exploring the application, if you have any questions, you can send an email at crm@inogic.com, and either me or any of the experts from my team will help you in setting up the process at your end. Now I'm open up for question and answer session. If you have any questions, please put it in the questions window, and I'll try to answer those at the best of my knowledge. So there is one question. So one of the attendees has a question that can we have the billing schedule generate invoice on an annual basis? Well, yes, we have provided all of the most commonly used option like weekly, monthly, daily, semi-annually, annually. So to answer your question, yes, an annual invoice generation logic can be put into place using our application. Any more questions? If you have, please put it in the question window. Okay, looks like we don't have any more question. So thanks a lot for joining this webinar. Kindly stay tuned with iNogic for many more such webinars. Have a wonderful day.